Okay, so good afternoon. Welcome to Political Headquarters. My name is Kojo Boka, and I'm your host for this afternoon. I have with me here a very interesting personality. We won't take much of your time. We'll just let him go straight into the business for today. We'll let him introduce himself to us. So please say you're welcome.
Thank you.
Please your name.
My name is Bonso Humphrey.
Thank you so much. Please, what position do you occupy just now?
Okay, I'm the chairperson of the Uds-Src Electoral Commission.
Chairperson of the EC for SRC. Thank you so much for having accepted our invitation to come here. And please, I believe that you've occupied many sensitive portfolios since your admission into this August University. Can you brief us a bit about it?
Okay, I would not like to go much into it, but I would like to talk about one of the positions. I've been the president for Yana Hope before, so I think that's the prominent position that I can talk about for now.
I'm sure that's where I met you. It's always been an honor meeting you. So, can you tell us anything about your background and experience in organizing elections?
Okay, for Uds-Src elections, I don't have much experience in organizing Uds-Src elections, but I've been a ballot issuer during the 2020 national elections. And so for that, I have an experience there, but for Uds-Src elections, I don't have much experience in the organization of the elections.
Okay. So, is there any preparations you made to properly equip yourself in the upcoming elections?
Okay, so when you talk about preparations, since there have been past instances, I've been talking to them for a while, and then they've given me all the necessary information that I need to conduct a successful election.
Okay. So, how does the SRC Electoral Commission collaborate with the SRC Executive Committee to ensure a smooth electioneering process?
Okay, when you go to Article 22 of the Uds-Src Constitution, I think it talks about the independence of the SRC Electoral Commission. And so talking about collaboration with the SRC Executive Committee, I think the only thing that they have to provide for us is financial, funds for the elections. Aside that, I don't think they might involve themselves much in the election because it's an independent committee, and then we have a committee that we have to plan, and then we plan everything about the elections, and then we go on with the elections.
With funds, have you gotten your funds, or is it underway, or you already secured?
No, it's in the process.
It's in the process. Okay, so are you sure you get them? What you want to?
Exactly.
All right, sure. So, what measures? Sorry, the funds actually brought back a question I was waiting for a while before I ask you. What's the possible range of funds do you think you will need for these elections?
Okay, I think I presented the budget to the General Assembly, and then those who were present that time or they got to know about the figures. And I don't want to talk about the figures here again, but then I think if you can ask those who came to the General Assembly, and then they can, I think, quote the amounts for you.
But since we have you here, let me step on your toes a bit.
You know how students are, so I would not like to go there.
All right, sure. I won't push you much further. So, what are the criteria for eligibility to run for the office of the SRC in student elections on this campus? And how do you verify candidacy?
Okay, for eligibility, I think we have a constitutional instrument. Okay, we have a constitutional instrument, and then the constitutional instrument, Article 1, the first part of the constitutional instrument talks about the qualification and what you should get before you can qualify to be an aspirant, a candidate. And so I would not like to talk much about it since it's in the CI, but I would like to comment on the GPA. You have to get a GPA of 3.5 when you're aspiring for SRC president or vice president, and also you have to get a GPA of 3.0 if you're aspiring for other portfolios. And then I think I would like to talk about not holding any office, whether department, political office, or whole office. Any of you shouldn't be holding any office. I think these are the ones I will talk about for now. Okay. But for the others, they are spelled out in the constitutional instruments of the Uds-Src.
So not to cut you short, but then you made mention of having a CGP of 3.5 if you're running for the high position of the SRC presidency. Does it also relate to the vice president as well, or just different?
All right. So for the presidency and the vice presidency, you should have a CGP of 3.5, at least 3.5.
Okay. So how do you handle cases of campaign finance violations or other forms of misconduct by candidates?
All right. So if you talk about campaign finance, campaign finance misconduct violation, I don't really understand what you mean by campaign finance violation, but what I know is misconduct. I think when on 5th May we released a circular talking about updates on the preparation of elections, and then we talk about students not vandalizing school property. And so I think if you do these things, the SRC EC can disqualify you, or we will sit and then we will decide what to do. Something like a fine or something we can do, given to the aspirant who flouts our rules.
So you mentioned fines being part of this form of management to candidates. Apart from fines, what other measures, what other
Disqualification.
disqualification? Okay. So with the fines, can you give us a range of amounts that?
Okay, we cannot actually just find someone like that. Before we find someone, we have to look into what rules did the person flout, and we have to set a committee, and so the committee will set the fine. It's not the Electoral Commission. So the Electoral Commission, the role the Electoral Commission will play is that we just form a committee, and the committee will consist of the disciplinary committee chair and I think other people, and then so they will quote the amount that the aspirant has to pay.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So how do you ensure that distance and sandwich students can participate in this process, the electionary process? I mean,
Distance and sandwich students. I don't know their schedule. But for now, if they are on campus, they will be part of the electoral process. But if they are not on campus, we have something in the article I think 23 of the HRC Constitution, which talks about proxy voting. And so we have everything set out there, and then we are going to work with the HRC Constitution. So whatever the Constitution is, we are going to go by it.
Okay, so since you're talking about the various forms that people can vote through, students can vote through, what platform is the SRC EC bringing on board this year?
All right, so we are going to bring something like let the students know. And so with let the students know, the students are going to know every single detail about the upcoming election. And so for now, I think we've started, and then we have a Twitter account, and then we put every information about the upcoming election there. And so we are going to let the students know everything, every single detail about the election. And so I think this also is synonymous to transparency. And so we are going to be transparent. And so every student is going to know about the works of the EC.
Okay. So talking about transparency, I think that's very key in every election. So we'll be counting on that, since previously we've seen how other elections have been. So I'm actually very keen in the transparency. I'm sure as time goes on, we'll get back to you in case of there's any Alright, so what measures have you taken in place? Okay, so sorry, can you describe the timeline for election process? From nomination to the voting day, how do you ensure that each candidate meets the deadline?
Alright, so just like I said, every student is going to know about the details of the election, and so with this, we are going to give the timelines out. I think we are working on it. Roughly next week, Monday, we are going to get a timetable, and then we are going to specify the dates: opening of nomination, closing of nomination. And so, if you don't meet the deadline, I think we will have to decide as a committee to see what to do afterwards. But for now, we just give the timelines for the opening of nominations and the closing of nominations.
Like it's next week, right?
That's not next week. Opening of nomination is not exactly next week, but the timetable will be out next week.
Oh, okay, sure. So, can you describe any challenges or obstacles that you have faced in organizing student elections and how you overcame them?
Alright, so since I initially told you I have not been involved in any organization of any student election, I think
let me let this one pass you by. So I think earlier I asked you which platform will you enable as students to vote via. Will you be using the normal counting of ballot papers that we know nationwide, or you adapt a different system?
Okay. So I think in the SRC Constitution, I like quoting the SRC Constitution because that's what is binding us. Article 31 of the SRC Constitution talks about the mode of voting, and then the mode of voting should be by a secret ballot. So that's the most important thing here. Okay, I've been in this school for 6 years. I've experienced 5 elections, and then 2 of them it was online. We have to use our phones to vote, and then 2 of them we had issues with them. 2 of those we had issues with them. The 3 of them it was laptops, routers, cables. You queue, we generate code for you, and then you vote. And then we didn't have any issue with any of them. And so what we are planning to do is we are going to go by that with laptops, routers, cables, and then they generate code for you. The polling officials, polling assistants, they generate code for you, and then you vote. I think that's what we are going to do. It's a local area network, and so it's very difficult to manipulate the system.
Okay, so I think you are taking this method or this form so that this election process will be free and fair. So, what other measures are you putting in place that say that this free and fair will prevail during the election process?
All right. So, notwithstanding, that's what the SRC is planning. But notwithstanding, this year we decided to conduct the elections with the candidates. We are not going to do whatever we want and then present to the candidates. So we sit down and then we talk things out. What do you think is going to be the best way to do this? What do you think is going to be the best way to do this? And then we do together. So that's what we want to do. We want to conduct the elections with the candidates. And then I know that by so doing, we are going to make sure that the election is conducted freely and fairly.
Okay, that's quite good. So you are trying to partner with the candidates themselves to bring out best policies that will help both parties. That's interesting. I'm actually waiting to see how that one fare out as well. So what are the key challenges that the SRC Commission faces in organizing student elections right now?
All right. For now, we haven't faced any key challenge, but I think what we are anticipating is the confidence that the students have in the Electoral Commission. I think because of the issues that happened last year, of which I don't want to go into detail, the students have lost confidence in the Electoral Commission. And so what we are trying to do is we want to regain the confidence back. And so that's what we want to do. And I think we started by bringing the media accreditation so that everyone will know what's going on, and then also by bringing the constitutional instruments so that everyone will be abreast with the laws, the rules and regulations governing the election. And so we want to make everything transparent. And then we are sure that we are confident that if we are going to do that, the student will regain the confidence that they have in the Electoral Commission.
Okay, so earlier in your previous submission, you did mention about the platform that you make us use to do our voting, and I heard about using routers and laptops and things. What measures are you putting in place to prevent fraud or manipulations of this activity that we're doing?
So I think I talked about that initially. When you are using a local area network, unless you connect to the server, you can't manipulate, and so it's something like close to impossible. Unless you have access to the router, unless you have access to the server. And so the plans that we have so that anyone will not get access to the router or the server, I think I don't want to talk about it because there are smart people in there. And they might also be thinking about new ways to also.
I actually wanted to probe a bit further to let you bring out one or two things into this, but then since we all want the election to be free and fair, so I won't push you again. Can you describe any recent changes or innovations that the SRC Commission has implemented to improve the election process?
All right. I think the questions you're asking me, I've already talked about them.
Well, I want you to.
Yeah. All right. So number one, media accreditation. This is the first time that we've done something like that. Number two, constitutional instruments. This is the first time that we've done something like that. And so I think for now, these are the two things.
So you mentioned constitutional instruments. Can you elaborate on them?
Okay. The constitutional instrument is made of we've taken the important part of the constitution. You see, the SRC constitution talks about a lot of things. So we've taken the part of the Electoral Commission, and then the UDS-SRC EC has a bylaw, but then the bylaw was made in 2016. And so the 2016 and the constitution was amended I think the constitution was amended last 3 years or last 4 years. And so there are inconsistencies. So we took the important part of the constitution, the important part of the bylaws, and then we merged it into a constitutional instrument. So that's actually what the constitutional instrument is. So it basically talks about the rules and regulations governing the upcoming election. That's the 2023 election.
So can you give us a preview into? I'm not sure the entire student populace have had the chance of seeing this CI you're talking about.
I think we publicized it recently.
Yeah. So just on this platform, can you give us a key, brief details into key points that you'd like to elaborate on?
So it talks about qualification requirements. It talks about the new things are the conduct of vetting committee members. It talks about disqualification during vetting. It talks about elections and voting. It talks about disputes after elections and so forth.
Okay. So I actually believe, and I've seen the work that you're doing. I think many works have been put into make sure that this leadership process is heard everywhere and seen by all students. That I will commend you and your able committee for that. So finally, just wrapping it up, what advice will you give to students who are interested in running for the office of the SRC or trying to get into any student politics that you're aware of?
All right. So first of all, I think this question is mostly is going to the aspirants, those who want to aspire for position this year. First of all, I would like to wish them good luck in their campaigning and all those things that they are going to do. But it's very simple. I mean, it's either you work and win, or you sit in the house, sleep, and then you lose. Do you understand? So it's about just sensitizing the students. Why the students need you as a president? Okay, as an SRC president, why do the students need you to be the SRC president? You understand? And so I think it's mostly about work. You work your way out, and then you win. You don't work, you don't win. That's how it is.
All right, so students, you've heard him. You work and you win. If you don't work, you will win. So thank you so much for coming to West Ghana Headquarters. It's nice to have you. Hopefully, as time goes on with your election process, you have more time and privilege to bring you here once again to elaborate on the various activities that we will undertake. So I wish you all the best of luck, and then thanks for coming.
All right, thank you.